So it's time to go to work. Which one are we going to take today? We've got the trusty Range Rover. But look, it's a nice, bright, sunny day. I think I'll take this one today. The Alfa hasn't been out for a little while. It's a lovely day. You know what? Let's take the fun one for a change. I believe the Alfa Giulia, and more specifically the Quadrifoglio, is that perfect blend of Jekyll and Hyde. So we've got the placid Dr. Jekyll in normal mode, advanced efficiency mode, with the suspension in soft. It's compliant. It's still positive. You still know you're in something rather special. But you plant your foot, you've got all the electronics to sort you out, and of course on a greasy day like this it makes a huge difference. I've got a 50-mile commute, country roads and motorways, and this thing is just so quiet. Yes, I've got the valves open right now, but they're not intrusive. It just gives you that feeling that you're driving something special. I've spoken before about this fitting like an Armani suit, and it makes you feel that way as well. You just know it fits, it looks well, people have no criticism when you're wearing one, and that feeling that you look good irrespective of whether you are good looking or not. So that's it. I can see a little bit of carbon fibre peeking through under the bonnet here, and it is, when you look around, you've got little bits of carbon on the dash, the swoopy dash. Everything is curvy. I don't think there are very many straight lines in this car at all. They talk about the female form and all the rest of it in design school. Who said you don't have Apple CarPlay in a 2017? Wireless Apple CarPlay, no doubt, and that's thanks to a little aftermarket unit. I hold my finger on the menu button and it cycles between. So there's the original car navigation. Yeah, it's a bit antiquated. And here we have the new and improved Apple CarPlay for that. So I've got all I ever want. This is it for me. This is where I put my phone on the grill. It plugs into the little USB to keep it charged. Of course, being wireless Apple CarPlay, I don't even need to have it plugged in. I can just put it there. But I find that obviously when you're using, this is my favorite bit. I find when you're using the phone for navigation, it does make a difference. Right, let's get down. This is my favorite little bit. Under the bridge, eh? Right. Back out of dynamic mode. You might notice the valves are open coming out of that junction. This is all down to the... Camera reported ahead. Thank you, speed camera ahead. This is the little AHM valve controller, loud and soft, all remote, and it remembers the last setting. So essentially, my valves are open all the time, even from the cold start. Which is really nice, and it's not overly loud, but it just brings that exhaust to its full potential. Don't have the Akaprovich. No need in one of these. Just get a valve controller, about 300 quid or thereabouts, and it's, yeah, you've got everything you want. So you've got the Go into manual, you get the blips and the downshift. Let me see if I can shut up for a minute. So in a manual, you get the blips on the downshifts, back into drive, and of course, traffic jams. There you go. This is a comfy place to be, and this one has the optional carbon fibre steering wheel. Something that's very tactile. It's nice to hold, but it reminds you that you're somewhere really special. Another thing that Alfa do really well in this is that all the controls, they're push buttons, they're not haptics. This one has got the adaptive cruise control, so if you see this little button here, you've got adaptive cruise on your car. If it's missing, you ain't got it. You've got set for the cruise control, so these are all your cruise control options. I could arm it and then set the distance from the car in front. All of this side, I love this little whirly wheel for volume, and you press it to mute, and then next track, backtrack, and there's the phone. So that's it, a little basic thing. All this swoopy carbon fibre, the way the screen integrates all the way through. No touchscreen, of course, in this, so no muddy paw prints, and to be honest, you can do everything you want through the little gauge here. The ways, of course, when you're using it, it splits its direction. It tells me exactly I'm 52 miles away, 1 hour and 2. That's fairly typical for this time of day. I've driven other cars, and you always get a little bit of hassle sometimes. People kind of nudging you on to have a little bit of a race, etc., etc. There is none of that in this car. It's ultimate respect. Those that know this vehicle and spot the little bit of a quadrifoglio, the 4-leaf clover on the front wing, they know it's pretty special as well. And they just give you room. It's quite aggressive looking at the front with the light pattern and the grille. And they just leave you to it. They pull over. They actually want to get a look at the car, which is rather strange. You don't get that aggression at junctions. So try that in a BMW or a Mercedes AMG and see how long you're going to be at the junction. So, into manual. Police reported ahead. Thank you very much indeed. Well, we will just... Carousels, and away we go. That's us up to the legal limit in a matter of a few seconds, and that's all it takes in this car. Yeah, you know what, with too much effort on the right foot, you'll find yourself a point in your license. This car feels really, really slow at the legal limits, I have to say. You really need the big screen with the speed in front of you. Every mode you can cycle through and actually get a speed readout, except for race mode. They're more concerned about RPMs and shifting gears and stuff like that. So let's get the cruise control in. And of course, this car has adaptive cruise control. Not all of them do. I would highly, highly recommend you find a car with that little extra button on the steering wheel, because it makes commuting an absolute breeze. You don't want to be beating on all the time, but it's nice that it's usable. It comes to a halt at brakes. Look, I haven't touched the brakes at all, and we're now we're coming up to a roundabout and a set of traffic lights. I've got a BMW in front of me. Don't know whether the lights are going to change or not. No, they're not. But he's braking and I'm braking, and I haven't touched the accelerator at all. So there you go. And then when they're free, we'll get ourselves back up to the legal speeds again. and that's what it's all about. It makes it absolutely completely usable. I love this thing, I have to say. I don't drive it as much as I really should. I'm going to put a few more miles on it. I think it's a fantastic car. I think it's got presence, it's got style, it's got pace, but I just need to take it on a road trip and really get to know it properly. I haven't tracked it yet. Of course, you know the channel, you know I've got a BMW E46 race car. That's my track tool. It's got all of the ADAS stuff, so it's got blind spot protection, it's got emergency auto braking, it's got, just get by this fella. Emergency auto braking. It's also got things like it'll warn you when cross traffic reversing out and stuff like that as well. So it's a great bit of kit. It's really safe. Maybe that's why the insurance groups and the insurance for this thing isn't as much as I had actually expected. If you haven't seen my full review on the car, one of the very first videos I did on the channel, go and have a look at that. It'll tell you all about that. One update actually is the fact that the service packages for the cars up to 5 years old, after your initial pack, if you buy it for the Quadrifoglio, get the maximum pack that you can, because the additional packs aren't available anymore for the Quadrifoglio. So I would suggest if you're going to buy a new one of these, buy the 5-year pack, be done with that, and pass it on to the new owner as a value-added item, an optional extra as it were. Right, well, we have got 49 miles to go to work. We're just sitting here at the legal speed. We're at 72 miles an hour, and we're at about 1800 RPM, so we've got an Audi playing silly buggers here beside me, but I think he might just be having a look. He's slowing down, eh? Well, you get more people actually slowing down to get a look at the car than you actually do hassle. Right, if you forgive the line across my forehead, then I'll talk to you about what makes this car so special for commuting. You got the 4 modes, the DNA race. You've got advanced efficiency mode. Flick it into that, limits the horsepower, limits the throttle response, and keeps the steering light and the suspension soft. Stick it in normal mode. You've got all of that, except it unleashes the beast. You've got the full daddy from gears 3 upwards. It limits things in first and second gear. Stick it in dynamic mode. You can hear it's down changed automatically. More rapid response on the gears, keeps you into the gear ready to accelerate, so typical sport mode. And it firms up the steering, firms up the suspension, but I can still hit the bumpy road button and put it back into soft. So I can have the full gearbox steering response, and I can soften up the suspension to not make my fillings fall out. Then we get into race mode. There it is, goes down another gear, says it's best enjoyed in manual. Now you start to lose protections here, you get lightning shifts, and one thing is the suspension, you cannot switch into soft whilst in race mode. It turns it into mid mode, which is a little bit softer, but not entirely altogether soft. So for me, actually on the commute, it's in normal mode. Now, one of the advantages in actually being in normal mode is the simple fact that it has got cylinder deactivation. What it essentially does is it turns the engine in from a fire-breathing 2.9 litre twin-turbo V6 back to about a 1500cc 3-cylinder non-turbo engine. It does this using a second ECU. It's the transition is seamless, and in fact it's just done it here now. My MPG has gone from a sort of a typical 30-ish miles to the gallon back to more like 50, and of course it goes through a cycle, so it's not on all the time. It cycles through just so that the catalytic converter doesn't get too cool and lose its efficiency once you put your foot down and swap it across. So there it is. You're doing about, we're doing 45 miles to the gallon now. That's unheard of in a supercar. Now, it's not all about fuel economy. Don't get me wrong. This car is a driver's car. So for all you out there saying I get 11, 12 miles to the gallon, yeah, you probably do, but you've been enjoying the car. It's the Jekyll and Hyde. It's the fire-breathing monster, but isn't that intimidating, to be honest? It's got a trick electronic diff out the back. It's got all your driver aids and assist. So it's not a scary car in the same sense. Does it reward you? Of course it does. Unless you've driven something with over 500 horsepower, you won't really appreciate it. The only other thing I can describe is the Jaguar XKR, the supercharged one that we have. It's relentless. It's a big shove in the back. This is a little bit of a fraction of a delay, and then wham, it throws you back in the seat, and it feels absolutely wonderful. You've got that crescendo of the V6 behind you. So don't get me wrong, this is a driver's car, but it can also do the commute very well. As you can probably hear, even with the valves open, it's not intrusive. I can hear a little rumble out the back, which I quite like. But there you go. And then put the foot down. I'll go and overtake here. Okay, and there we go. And that's in normal mode, by the way. You've got everything available. So it still brings a smile to my face. So there you go, a little quick one, just about why, if you're looking for something that's perfect for that daily commute, I get something like 40 miles to the gallon out of this. Now, that's UK miles to the gallon for all you guys out there. It's about, I believe it's about 20% difference. So you're looking at about maybe, I suppose, 32, 33 miles to the gallon US on average in this car. And that's on a long run with a nice, easy right foot and all the rest of it. And that's what makes it usable. You're not sticking loads of unleaded in there into your V8 supercar that does teens to the gallon, and you're wondering why you're not taking it out because it's costing you a clean fortune on those mundane runs. By all means, go and use the potential. Get it down to 10 or 11 miles per gallon when you're out on the twisties. So, you know what? There you go. This is why this car kind of ruins me for anything else. that's the only drawback, folks. All very much depends on your kind of local dealership and your relationship, and of course the relationship I've got with Unity Alfa here in Kidlington outside of Oxford is fantastic. They've always looked after me, I have to say. Great bunch of people. So there you go, that's by the by. So that's it for this one. This is the ideal commuter as far as I'm concerned. Go find another one. If you've got any other suggestions, let me know. I have no idea. I'm a 911 guy as well, but the 911s are a little bit louder. You always get that bit of tire noise and intrusion. This is quite a bit quieter on the Michelin Pilot Sports, the 4S's on this car. So I'm off to Stockholm. I'm back for the day. I shall enjoy the roads a little bit quieter later on. So till the next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, because we've got quite a few watchers here that don't subscribe to the channel. It makes a huge difference as far as me getting other cars to review, and I'm not at that level just yet. So you're just getting the cars that I have for now. Please let us grow the channel together, and we'll get a few more tasty bits on the way. All the best now. Bye-bye.